expect your name to be read out last night for the Newcombe medal?
No, not really. It could have been anyone. I think it was sort of really even across the board, whichever way you looked. I don't think anyone had an unbelievable year, obviously, making semis or finals of Grand Slam singles, but overall everyone had sort of some kind of breakthrough year in some way or another, I think. For me, obviously, the highlights were obviously the US Open and the Davis Cup. I went undefeated in all my matches in the Davis Cup this year. It was my biggest priority at the start of the year, and to go through and get another opportunity. I never knew if I'd get the opportunity to play in the World Group again, and I just can't wait for February to come straight after, obviously, the Australian Open, but to go over there in France and represent my country in the World Group against two top 10 players in Tsonga and Gasquet as well. So hopefully we get Bernie in good nick and we can have a good run at it. Obviously, Kyrgios and Kokkinakis, their time will come. They're still young, they're still playing junior Grand Slams throughout this year. So, in terms of Bernie, obviously this year was up and down. It's similar to the last couple of years that he's had on the tour. He has some really good wins and then some average losses. So if he can step it up and just get that more like the top 10, top 20 players, be able to do it week after week, then his ranking is going to skyrocket. But for me, it was just nice to catch up with Rod Laver. I don't get to see him all the time now. He's based in the States. Kenny Rosewall, these are guys that, as I said, I grew up idolising what they've done for Australian tennis, and we have such a rich history when you throw in the likes of Federer and Nadal, and we've got guys in our own backyard that are up there on that pedestal with those guys. I sort of just take it one year at a time, but I'll be playing pretty much a full calendar right through this year. I won't play all the clay court events because physically I think that playing on that surface week in and week out takes the most out of my body these days, and I want to be in the best nick possible, obviously for the Australian summer, but the grass court season as well. Last year I played some great grass court tennis, obviously beating Del Potro, Isner, Dimitrov, Querrey, so there's a lot of good wins. Wawrinka at Wimbledon. So it is a different motivation now. When you first come on the tour, you think you've got 15, 20 years ahead of you, whereas now you're one injury away from retirement. So it's sort of, you want it all to happen in a hurry. Sometimes it's harder to get up for the smaller tournaments these days, and my priority definitely isn't the smaller tournaments. I just try and play enough of those events to still have me in good enough touch for the Grand Slams and Davis Cup matches. If I can get my body in good enough nick and get enough matches under my belt going into the grass court season, then I feel like I can put myself in with a good chance. Anything can happen in the second week of a Grand Slam, so see what happens. If there's a couple of upsets with the top guys early on, then you never know.